going to give a real quick breakdown of this deck, which I think is probably my strongest deck right now. Um, so, and then I'm going to play some events with it. So this is my Izzet Charbelcher deck. Let's put the enablers. Okay, so land, 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 land. So the idea of Charbelcher is that we use MDFC, which are these lands, these multi-faced land cards, to basically not have lands in our deck, which means that when we use Charbelcher, it's going to hit for like 50 damage and immediately kill the opponent. So treasure, treasure, treasure. I'm breaking the deck up into piles here to explain what the piles do, right? So these are our treasure piles. All of these generate treasure. So Strike It Rich, 1 mana, make a treasure. It's just ramping us, making us able to go off faster. Magma Opus, we can channel this to make a treasure. We can also potentially sometimes cast this with Ironcrag Feet. Sometimes it makes sense to do that. Pact Negation, so you can. This is a counterspell for free, but you lose the game if you don't pay for it on your next upkeep. But the thing about Charbelcher is you can use this ability at instant speed. So when this goes on the stack for you to pay it, instead you can tap Charbelcher and just kill your opponent, and the game's over and you win the game. So this protects us comboing off, but also in conjunction with this spell, which also counters non-creature spells and can be used defensively, we can also use the combo of these two cards offensively, where turn 1 we play an untapped blue land, they cast a spell, we Pact Negation it with full control, and then we counter our own spell with Offer You Can't Refuse to get 2 treasures, which means that then you have 2 treasures, and then you go into turn 2, you play 1 more land untapped, and then assuming you have this spell and this spell, you can just kill them right on turn 2. So that's our kind of Disneyland turn 2 kill. Most of the time, this is a turn 3 kill deck, but there is that kind of Disneyland conjunction of cards to be aware of that can kill your opponent on turn 2. So that's kind of how you use Pact Negation Offer. You can also use Offer on Strike It Rich to make more treasures faster. You can also potentially use it on Surgical Extraction. You pay the life for this, and then counter it with Offer and get 2 treasures out of it if you don't need the graveyard removal effect. Then we have our win conditions over here. Obviously, Goblin Charbelcher is 4 mana. Pay 3 mana, tap it. It does 50 damage, basically. Just think of it like that, right? So it costs 7 mana, and you can immediately kill the opponent. Or if you have Ironcrag Feet, this costs 4 mana, gives you 7 mana, which just so happens is just enough to play Goblin Charbelcher, shoot your opponent in the face, and win the game. The other thing we've got is Plunderer's Prize. This is essentially Goblin Charbelcher again, but it costs 1 more mana. We run this over Indomitable Creativity because Indomitable Creativity in these decks is almost always targeting a treasure, which means it costs 1 extra mana anyway. Indomitable Creativity costs 3 red and X, which is more restrictive on the mana cost, and also it has to target a treasure, which is more restrictive on the board state, and also because it has to target a treasure and that treasure could then be interacted with when it's being targeted, is potentially more vulnerable to interaction as well. With this, you pay 1 blue and 4. You get this will pull a Belcher out of your deck and put it on the field. So instead of needing 7 mana to combo off, you need 8, which means that you need 5 mana on board counting your treasures and an Ironcrag Feet. You cast Ironcrag Feet, you pay the 1 extra blue mana that you need, you cast this, you combo off. Running 4 gambles. This is like a super sketchy card, but there's really nothing better than it in the spot. This has the potential to go grab a win condition out of our deck, and assuming it doesn't discard it randomly, you'll get to keep it in your hand. So this grabs any card in your deck. There aren't any new cards for this deck. There will be for the Suicide Jund, I think. So with this, you can get any card out of your deck. Sometimes you'll use it to grab a Belcher. Most of the time, that's probably what you're going to use it for. Sometimes you may use it to grab an Ironcrag Feet. Sometimes you may use it to grab a Pact Negation if you need to like bridge to the next turn. And then we also have these 3 toolbox cards here. We've got Orm's Chant. This can help you go off against control. If you have a treasure and enough mana to cast your Belcher, but you're not able to go off because you know your opponent's holding a ton of counter magic, you can play this and they have to counter it, or you can just combo off immediately. Surgical Extraction, you can gamble for this and use it immediately, which makes it very strong. We use this against graveyard decks. You gamble for this against certain graveyard decks, and then you can exile their win condition when they try to do something with it. And finally, I switched out the Bounce Fairy for Cyclonic Rift because this has the potential to be used in conjunction with Ironcrag Feet. So like sometimes it may make sense to Ironcrag Feet, Cyclonic Rift, bounce everything you don't control. And then finally, uh, these are kind of our enablers. So Ironcrag Feet is mana ramp. This gives us the amount of mana we need to combo out. Leyline of Anticipation. This, I think, is what sets my version of Belcher apart from most of the versions I've seen. I run 4 of Leyline of Anticipation. I really like this card in this deck. It lets you cast everything you've got at instant speed, which means that you can cast Belcher at instant speed at the end of the opponent's turn. If you're playing against control and they ever tap out for mana, you can Ironcrag Feet, Belcher, kill them like on the spot. And I just really like this card in this deck. It also means that you can use your treasure ramp at the end of their turn instead of having to cast it at sorcery speed. It's nice. Okay, next, the reason this deck is so strong is they printed a bunch more MDFC lands in the last set. So all our lands are untapped except for our dual land, which enters tapped. So we've got 4 tap lands. Rush of Inspiration, 3 Hydroelectric Specimen, 4 Sink into Stupor, 4 Sundering Eruption, 3 Pinnacle Monk, 4 Shatterskull Smashing. All of these lands you pay 3 mana, 3 life, not mana, to have them enter untapped. And then my sideboard looks like this. So we have 3 more Surgicals against graveyard decks if we're in a best of 3 situation. We can sub these in and have the full set of Surgical Extractions to deal with that. 3 Pithing Needles if people are using the abilities of things that we need to shut down. 3 Vexing Baubles if people are doing I pay no mana to cast spell shenanigans. 3 Brotherhood Ends as board wipes against like low to the ground creature decks. Or if people are playing with like a lot of artifact ramp, you could also potentially sub these in to blow up the ramp. And then they added this card in the new set, and I haven't tested it out yet, but it seems okay. It's a 1 mana blue spell. It's an enchantment. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a toy with base power and toughness 0/2. So this basically removes a creature for 1 blue mana, which is pretty good, actually, I think. So yeah, that's the sideboard. And with that said, let's play a event real quick. Couple events while I'm waiting for the WoW patch to drop. So events. All right, so Stork events. This is how you can make resources in this game for free without spending money on it. You need to be able to win basically 4 or more, and you will make a profit on the entry fee. So the entry fee is 375 gems, which we just spent. If you win 0, you get 25 gems, which means that no matter what, the entry fee is actually 350, because no matter what, you're going to get 25 back. If you win 1, you get 50 back, so you spend 325. If you win 2, you get 75 back, so you spent 300 and you got 1 pack, which normally a pack is 100. So you could think of this as spending 200 gems, right? Next, you win 3, you get 200 gems back, so now you spent 175 gems, and you got a pack out of it, which is worth 100 gems. So now you're at 75 gems, right? So you still spent 75 gems here. Once you hit 4 wins, and you got to get 4 wins before you get 3 losses, you get 300 gems back in a pact, which is 400 gem value. You spent 375 to get in, so now you're 25 gems in the black, basically. Like you have made a profit of 25 gems at this point. Once you hit 5 wins, you're in the I can sustain this territory because you've now made more gems back than you spent to get into it. So you spent 375 to get in. You got 400 back, so that's 25 gems, and you also got two packs. So this is really where the big profit starts coming in. So once you hit 5 wins before you hit 3 losses, you've made 25 gems, and you've gotten 2 packs that are worth 100 gems each. So you've really made 225 gems, right? Next, 450 gems and 2 packs. It's 50 more gems. So now you made 75 raw gems and 2 packs, 275 gems. And then finally here, you made 125 gems, raw gems, and you've gotten 3 packs of it out of it, which is 100 gems each pack. So you've actually made about 425 gems on the 375 gems you put in. So basically, you need a deck that you're confident will win more than it loses, on balance. And like, you're always gonna have bad runs. You're always gonna have runs where you go 0-3. But you need something where you're confident that you're gonna be hitting that 4 and 5 wins out before you hit 3 losses on a regular basis. So you need a strong deck. But once you have a strong deck, you can spam these events to get free resources, and that's basically how you do it. So this hand is not great, but it's like maybe passable. So we have to gamble for our win condition, which is never great. But I do think I'll take it. So usually with gamble, from a game theory perspective, it's better to use this when you have more cards in hand. So usually if I'm having to gamble for my win condition, I wait for turn 2 after the draw here. I'm going to play the land. We don't want to discard that. And then we're going to gamble. And we're going to try to fetch a Belcher. We lose the Surgical, which is great. So now we need mana. Great. We just need one more red mana now. Our Treasure Generator would be fine too. I don't know what opponent is doing. Okay, perfect. So we can generate treasure with that. We just need opponent to cast a spell. And then we're going to pack negate the spell and offer our own pact. And that's going to give us 2 treasures and the ability to win. So we're going to do this. We're going to pack negate this. And we have Orm's Chant as well here. Which, just to make sure opponent's not doing anything silly here. Oh, if he has remand, we're dead. He can remand our offer, and we just lose the game. Okay, great. So, to make sure opponent is not up to any shenanigans here, we're just going to go ahead and Orm's Chant. Actually, no, we'll hold it for our turn. Because he was acting like he had something to respond with. And if he has a remand, that could kind of ruin our day. So we're just going to Orm's Chant here, right now. Now he has to respond to this. We can let him draw, that's fine. If he did have the remand, though, he should have definitely remanded the offer you can't refuse. Alright. So now that we've cast Orm's Chant, he can't respond to anything we do, and we just kill him. And that's how it works. So that gets us our first win. And again, you have to lose. When you lose 3 times, you're out. So as long as you can win slightly more than you lose on balance, it's cheaper than buying packs. If you can win substantially more than you lose, like if you can win, excuse me, what? If you can win twice as much, like if you win twice as much as you lose, then it's like way more profitable, and you will make gems in the process. Seems like they might be having some server issues here. Let's try this again. Where the... All right, come on. Okay, we're back. Maybe. Oh, maybe not. Is the MTGA servers getting DDoSed right now? Well, shit. Okay. Something is wrong. Make sure I have internet. Internet? Okay. We have internet. Well, shit. It's like they're having auth server issues. All right, this is still down. Um, well, shit. Okay, it's under maintenance. Well, sorry, I didn't know that it was about to go into maintenance. I guess I'll have to finish this set later. But yeah, that's like a quick breakdown of this deck. It's also a quick breakdown of how you can basically play Magic Arena online for free and still get resources. Um, you need something. You need a deck that's strong, that wins more than it loses, and then you need to spam events. And it's slow, but it's definitely slower than spending money on it or anything like that. But it's free. So that's nice. All right, well, later.